Wonderful. Thank you, Paul. Well, good evening and welcome to the August 26th uh, TAPR-HamSCI technical session. My name is Nathaniel, W2NAF, and this week, the big thing I did was I went to the Northeast Ham Exposition in Marlborough, Massachusetts, and I met up with a number of the New England Grape Group team, and we had a booth at the Northeast Ham Exposition, and then I gave the keynote for the grand banquet speech on Saturday night, and I think it went well. And I also gave the New England Grape Group people, Bob Rife, W1XP. I gave him a RX 888 in computer, all pre-programmed with Whisper Demon. So that team now has one of those, and they'll probably be getting it on the air soon. Classes start this week, so I'm just trying to make sure I'm all prepared for that. One thing I'm very excited about is I'm teaching a class of freshman engineers, and the final exam is going to be the technician license exam. They're going to have lots of opportunities to participate in W3USR activities this semester. So it should be good. Back to net. I guess I now have to
You're
go.
net control.
I'm net control. So I'm net control. So I'm just going to go down this list the way it appears in my participants list. So guess what, Elmer? You're next.
Oh boy. Well, I'll be visiting you. Oh, dark 30 on Friday, I guess. From
Okay, great.
leaving from here, it looks like the weather's going to be fine. Um, I have the power supply set up. The coil to coil is still in test. It is a bit warm. It could be because I have too large a battery. That I'll have to check tomorrow. Because the frequency is still low. It should be going higher. Anyway, and I the battery to battery system, which we could just drop in your place. It'll be kind of neat to be able to plug that in, so the DXE and the SAS will be able to hook up to it. And other than that, I guess we're going to do some troubleshooting to see if we can find other issues. I did do an SAS experiment here, and I found, and this is early, that if I move the Cat5 cable and ran it down the guide cable, it performed better. It wasn't coupling as much energy. The reason I saw this is I have two here, a medium Z and a high Z. They were neck and neck. So every time you'd look at the Whisper Rock, they were side by side. They were just almost paired. Now the one where I ran the cable down, guide cable, it is leaped ahead. So it looks to be performing better over time. And then double clutch. What happened to your station? I don't see it being posted anymore.
Which one?
Whisper Rock, all of it.
They should be working. I don't know why they're not working. I
don't see -2 or -3.
They should both be working. I don't know why they're not.
Well, I'll check again, but the last I looked over the few days, you have vanished.
Okay.
Anyway, that's it. Back to net.
Not for any good reason. All right. I will turn it over to Dave, KV0S. He can give his report, and then he can take over being net control.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I had a Tapper Zoom last Saturday with Paul, and I signed into that one by mistake. And then I realized nobody's here. So anyway, this week we had a Tapper board meeting. I did that, and had a few things around here working on, but not a lot. So, Nathaniel, who have you called on to this point?
I have just myself and Elmer.
Okay. So that's it for me. Let's go. I'll get the participant list up again. Next on the list, let's go to Clint. K7OEI. Go ahead, Clint.
All right. not much else to add, just working on semi-related things, but anyway, I'll throw it right back at you.
Okay. And then next on the list is Dave H, W6OQ.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, so this week I've been working on moving over to a new laptop that I purchased, and I guess I wasn't paying attention, but when I transferred this stuff from my old laptop to my new laptop in the documents directory, it put it all in the cloud. Yeah, and wasn't any of it came on the computer because the OneDrive was doing all that. I guess I have to pay more attention to what they're doing. That's it.
Okay. Um, Next on the list, we have Dave Julian, WB9YIG. Sorry.
That's all right. Good evening, folks. Not much going on here. I did manage to get my audio files from the meteor scatter uploaded, and now I'm digging into a TS59 or 590 SG, trying to get it resurrected. But other than that, that's about it.
Okay. And then next on the list, we have Dave McGaw. He's earlier than usual.
Yes, indeed. Um, I remembered to open my computer and see the reminder today. My schedule has kind of changed lately and keep forgetting. When is the last time that we can get the MSQP stuff uploaded? I presume that's coming right up, or if it has it passed?
For the contest part or for
Yeah.
the science data part?
Yeah, kind of both. I mean, I did made some contacts, but most of it is
I mean, the science data part we will take whenever you post it.
okay.
So
But
please,
how about for contests?
yeah. I have to look at the list. I have to look at the website again.
Anyway, I realize I haven't done that yet, but I had mine open receiving for extended period of time, and I made a few contacts, so I want to make sure my data gets up. And then yeah, I've been continuing to work on our CubeSat ground station. CubeSat is beginning to give us data. This is called REAL, REAL, and it does seem to be alive. We've been having trouble commanding it, but when commands go through, we do get data back. So it's encouraging. This is a satellite that's studying the radiation belts from low Earth orbit. So I guess that's about it for me. Back to Net.
Okay. Next on the list, let's see. I'm trying to get this. Would be Jay Schwartz, WB8 SBI. Go ahead, Jay.
Howdy, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Nathaniel, earlier, I turned in late. You were mentioning about you're on the committee and your tickets or something. What event is this?
Oh, for the American Geophysical Union meeting.
Ah, okay. I got in just a few seconds after you had mentioned that. So, well, but you did remind me the AMSAT convention, the annual meeting is going to be up here. I believe it's in October in Arizona. Got to make reservations for that. And also got to keep in mind that the Radio Club of America will be in DC in November. So got to make reservations for that. Otherwise, nothing new ham radio wise here from Southeast Michigan. So I'll say 7-3 to all and take care, stay safe. Back to net.
Okay. Next on the list is Michael Howen, AC0G. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, everybody. I've been real busy with things that have nothing to do with radio. So I did manage to remember that this was on the schedule and log in. So that's the best I can say. Back to
Okay, very good. Uh, Let's see. Next on the list is Paul Elliott, WB6 CXC. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, hi everybody. Not a whole lot of major progress on anything, although there are a few projects I would like to work on, but I haven't. I have spent some time with the time sync project. I really, really want to use the hardware that I've got now um, as long as I can, just so we have a better idea of what it is we're actually trying to do and what works and what doesn't. And then I can spin some hardware to, come up with kind of an optimized solution for that. But I was able to figure out how to improve I'm building a GPS disciplined oscillator on the board, not a very good one, but I was able to improve my phase resolution by a factor of 10,000. So that helps with the PLL sync, getting that thing to behave. It's still not tweaked in. I'm no good at the math, so I use the math maybe to get close, and then I fiddle with things. Not the best way, but works for now. So anyway, progress is being made in that. I am still wait, Scott, if you do get a chance to try out that unit I sent you, I don't know if you have the GPS geo stuff yet. Definitely like to get a report back on that when you get a chance. And I guess that's it. Back to Net.
Okay. And next on the list is Phil Karn, K9Q. Go ahead, Phil.
All right, you always call me when my window is like buried in 5 other windows and the window's open, the dress is screaming overhead. Anyway, no, I just got in a few minutes late. What do I have to report here? Not a whole lot. I mean, working a lot with the KNIQ web guys, trying to support them, working on the GUI web interface front end to KNIQ radio. Let's see. Other than that, not really much. I'll think of something. Go ahead, Dave.
Okay. Well, I keep seeing little improvements. I appreciate those.
Lots of little ones. I don't know if
Yep.
anything stands out, but sometimes I just go in and rip out a whole piece of code because I just don't like how it looks, even though it works.
Yeah, I know how that
Well,
is.
there's an old saying, and I love this saying that in engineering, you're not done when there's nothing left to add. You're done when there's nothing left to take out.
Yes.
I've
Yes.
always loved that expression.
Yes. Okay. Next on the list is Scott Newell, N5TNL.
Hey, no real progress to report this week, but Paul, I did play with ARB running into your injector, and I think I'm probably going to order a Bodnar later tonight or tomorrow. So progress soon. And that's it for me.
Very good. And next on the list is Tom, N5EG. Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, good evening, Dave. Everyone in the group. Still working on the circuit board layout for the quad receiver. The connector for the FX10 is very challenging. Ended up with having to make differential pairs with 85 micron wide traces and 40 micron spaces. In Freedom units, that's 3 mils and 2 mils. And it's still tough even with that. I have a tremendous amount of inexperience with KiCad, and so I'm doing a little bit to learn about that. Let me bring up a real quick screen here. This is kind of where I'm at on the board right now. Those things that look like blue and red traces are actually differential traces. And so if we zoom in on them, you can see that they're differential traces, but they're very, very tiny. The board estimators indicate that it will work. The problem I'm running into here is on this is the connector that goes to the FX10. And if I route something like this, differential pair on the top and on the bottom, I can't ground those pins in between because I can't get a via dropped anywhere in there to ground them. And so I'm coming up to speed on new technology here. So that's it. Back to the group.
Very interesting. Somebody else have a question? I thought. Anyway, yeah, it seems like the space we're used to is all gone.
Yeah, it's coming back up to speed with new circuit board and connector technology.
Yeah.
So I'm just a little out of date.
Can you do via in pad with is that a BGA connector thing there?
It is, yes, it's a BGA connector and the islands are just on the top surface. I haven't tried to go to a buried via in a pad yet, as I'm afraid of the cost, but that'll be the next step.
I've never done one, but I know people do that when they're running into density problems.
Yeah, I'm going to try and work it out with using the two outer routing layers and see if I can make it work.
Well, very good. So next on the list is Rob Robinette. Go ahead, Rob.
Okay, well, we shipped off a pair of systems that are destined to be Whisper Demon grape systems in the South Atlantic. So we have two of those systems, two receive systems and one Whisper Sonde transmitter. They're going to Dr. Jerry Bulger, whose call sign, one of his many call signs is ZD7GB. That's his call sign on St. Helena Island. So he's currently in Montana. So Paul sent me a whisper sonde and a combiner, which had a shorted 30-meter input, was it? I think.
Yeah, it was the combiner. The whisper sound was fine. I'm waiting to get that combiner back to see what went wrong with it.
Okay, it
But
should have arrived today.
not yet, but I'm kind of a long way from add a day, where anything's sent here.
Okay. Well, usually it's a single day, overnight, so I'm surprised. Anyway, I sent a bunch of them on Friday, and supposedly the package for Jerry is going to be delivered to him in Billings later today. I find that hard to believe, but anyway, it needs to be there by the end of the week. So anyway, constructing those systems, I think, as I mentioned last week, involved me learning a whole bunch of stuff. I moved to Debian 13 in order to be able to support the power control and frequency, CPU frequency. That was led me down into a bunch of paths, which were good, but I finally kind of cleared most of those away today, and I've turned my attention to bringing up the servers, and so I'm working on server code now. Finally, after 3 months of having the servers down, I mean, we have the server. One server has been up. If you use whisper.rocks or whisper.live, you are talking to a server, the Whisper Daemon server here in Fremont. But all it's doing is scraping the whispernet.org spots. Its other more interesting and complete radio, more interesting for scientific purposes, the data is being cached away and will be restored to these servers once I get through this server process. I am working on it. So one of the things I was inspired by Bill Engleby's work with the PSW server to change the way things are uploaded to the Whisper Daemon server, to use SFTP and rsync as the upload mechanism, which gives me, authentication and, defense against malicious users events in the future. So hopefully that'll never happen, but I'm now aware that there's about 100 stations who are uploading, including supposedly most 20 or so grape stations, Whisper Demon grape should be uploading. So anyway, we're migrating all that. That's what I'm working on now. So that's my major focus. So I'll send it back to the network there.
Oh.
Have a view.
Okay. Well, have I called on everyone? So then we're open for general discussion.
I think you missed Jim.
Jim?
Oh, yes, you did.
Oh, sorry, Jim. You didn't
Not,
say anything.
not that I had anything earth-shattering to say, except that I'm doing a presentation, an update on a HamSCI to our local club Thursday night. I have that pretty well written now, thanks to some suggestions from Nathaniel. It's about 50% the same stuff I did last year and 50% new material, concentrating on some of the newer experiments. And they always want to know, well, what did you learn from it? So to satisfy that, I've got to put a fairly detailed section on TIDS in there. That's about it. Back to net.
Okay. Well, then I think anybody else that I missed? Well, then we are open for just general discussion, unmonitored.
Question for Phil Zelmer.
Yeah.
I have a station that, well, some time ago was the first one I built that I could look at my web server, and it looks like the stream multicast isn't making it to the web system, as I can best tell.
Okay, they're on the same LAN?
Yes, it's physical. Yeah.
Okay.
Same box.
Oh, it's the same box. Okay, all right. Well, then it certainly should. And even with TTL 0, it was just limited to the same box, but certainly any other process on the same machine should be able to get it.
Yeah, control on that machine shows only the HF.locals. Doesn't show any SSRCs for any of them, any of the three networks on three servers on his LAN. If you go to
the same box,
the other boxes see themselves, each other,
yeah,
but see nothing off of. He has these are servers 0, 2, and 4. 2
yeah.
and 4, both. If you run control on them, it shows server 0 is there, but there's no SSRCs listed under it.
All right, that's usually a sign that the TTL has been set to 0.
Yeah, but it's
But
not.
the announcements are set with TTL 1, but the servers, I mean, the streams themselves.
Okay. Well, in any case, then server 2 sees all three, are there, sees all its SSRCs and server 4's SSRCs. And
Okay.
similarly, server 4 sees all three, and it sees itself and server 2. So 2 and 4 are operating the way I would expect them to.
Yeah.
But 0 does not. 0 doesn't see itself for whatever reason, but it doesn't see the other two either, even though they see each other.
Doesn't see anything?
Well, on 0, I can access 2 and 4. I can sit there and browse the web server.
Okay.
But 0 doesn't see itself.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. And
it
was the first one I built up, and it was working. Then all of a sudden one day.
I mean, is it current? I mean, I've had some problems all along the way with multicast that I think I've pretty much fixed. Most of them had to do with using the wrong interface. Like many boxes have both wired Ethernet and Wi-Fi, and you don't want to use Wi-Fi for multicast. You really don't.
No, not using Wi-Fi.
Okay, well, you don't. Do you actually have Wi-Fi on the box?
It's physically there, but turned off.
Physically there, turned off. Okay, it's not associated with the base station.
That's correct.
All right, good.
It's
Because sometimes if it is, if the Wi-Fi comes up before the Ethernet, then the logic that selects a default multicast routing port will pick the Wi-Fi, which is not what you want. This happens most often when you're plugged, the Ethernet is plugged into a smart switch that will does what's called spanning tree protocol to detect possible loops in the network. It won't actually
Right.
turn on a port for several seconds, and then for that amount of time, the Wi-Fi comes up and becomes the default route out of the machine. I've seen this a number of times. But if the Wi-Fi is truly down, not even associated, then that should not be a problem. But it's always one of the first things I ask because it's most machines have both Wi-Fi and Ethernet now, and you may set it up for your home network but not think you're using it.
It's turned off. I'm looking at it now. It says off.
Oh,
And I
okay.
haven't had it on since a
Okay.
long
All
time
right.
ago.
All right. Well, I just mentioned that for completeness.
Yeah, no, I get the spanning tree thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I could take a look at, I actually did look at one of your machines a few weeks ago and I wanted to talk to you about it. Now I can't remember what it is. I might have broken something. I tend to upgrade machines when I find them because a lot of these problems have been fixed. And to be dealing with, especially with Ubuntu, all these different versions, I don't even know how old they are. I tend to like to bring stuff up to date if possible. I wish we could standardize
Again,
it.
I haven't touched the machines because I've been allowing folks like yourself to use it as a test platform. So I
Yeah.
have been more of a casual user and not touching them because I don't know
Yeah.
how, Scott or yourself have been
Yeah.
leaving it, and I don't want to interrupt what you're trying to do.
Well, I also don't want to interrupt what you're doing.
I'm just
Okay.
doing.
Now, are all your machines on Rob's little virtual network that I can access with SSH? I think I know at least some of them are. Are they all that way?
That's Rob how he left them set up.
Okay, that looks like it. Whose screen am I seeing? Yours or Rob's? Who am I seeing? Rob's. I'm seeing Rob's screen. Okay. So yeah,
Okay.
-0.
Okay, here we are. Yeah, you're
Okay.
seeing.
I mean,
I've
you
lost
know how
my.
it's helpful to know how these commands are doing. When you type control, what you just did is you went out and used the multicast DNS looking for service advertisements, and those will get out even if the TTL set to 0. And the symptom of that is you'll select one of these and you won't see any streams. So that's why I mentioned that.
You see that?
Okay,
See,
now it might be that there aren't any streams, or there might be some, but try to create one. Just enter a number and try to create one.
Hold on a second. Let me select.
That doesn't work, then.
Okay, well, here's 2. Okay. Oh,
I'll hit return. Hit return a couple times. All right, you don't. Okay, either there's nothing on the thing, or there is, but you can't see it because the TTL is.
Well, here. Okay, so this is.
Enter something.
I'm trying to. Hold on a second. I've got Zoom things getting in the way. If you look at 4, okay, well, this is trying to look at hf4.local. So this would be number 2 over here.
It's a good idea, by the way, to try to be consistent in your naming schemes. I find it very confusing when I get on some site and I don't know.
I never touch the names, and so they're kind of what
I've been trying, by the way, on all the sites that I maintain, like KFS and KP, I've been trying to set up, consistent names.
Yeah.
Like call sign dash like HF or whatever it is for me. And then I don't like to use generic names like RX888 Whisper Demon because then when I put them in I distribute their configurations, you don't know what machine it's referring to.
Well, I don't Whisper Demon, and I don't really touch them because I don't use this. I rarely use this, but you can see here. This is the top pane here. This is HF4, right? I go into control, and I select.
You're running control here on 0. Okay.
Okay, but I'm on 0. The top one is on 0, and I press 2 and say, look at HF4, and it sees nothing.
Right.
But
Now,
this
listen to me. Okay, you haven't done this. Try to create a channel. Enter some number. Try to create a channel.
Oops, hold on, wrong word.
In either one of these screens. Right. Does there anything come up? No. Wait a minute. I don't see any responses.
Well, I see.
Okay.
I see.
Either it's dead or.
How could it be dead? You see it down here. This is the same. This is HF4 down here in the lower pane.
Seeing on what machine?
On HF4.
Okay. Well, this is an obvious TTL problem.
I don't think so.
How do you know?
Does
I
he
mean,
look right here? Oh, look at that. TTL, you're right. That's why we need. Okay, so we got that one. Okay, so now let's go. Why? So
that's why you can see it on itself, but not anywhere else.
yes. Well, I'd say, well, previously it was I could see it on 2, but 2 isn't online right now, I guess, right?
No,
Elmer, I
they should
don't.
all be up.
I guess when you can look.
2 isn't. I can't. I don't have remote access to 2, so I can't do that
Really?
right now. Yeah.
I'm gonna go look at
AGE
it was up and
2.
running. I can see it from my machine on 0.
Well, maybe I gave it a different name.
You have AGE, not N 3. You have
Yeah,
AGE.
try to be.
There it is. There it is. There it is. I'm sorry. Okay.
Whatever you do. Oh God, 239 updates. Oh my God.
So there's 3 panes here. This is 0, 2, and 4.
Okay.
So so we can restart. Let's start. Restart your. And let's see if we can see it over here. Let me see. All right, let's look at and make sure. Whoops. Come on. I do not have no response to that. Somehow my remote access is hung.
Yeah, it's not the most, well, we've had this discussion, Rob. There are other ways of doing this.
You keep telling me about that. This is not this is an internet problem. That's I've lost my.
I know that.
This is my Wi-Fi is poor out here in my office, and I lost my connections. So it's
Anybody who's interested, ARDC now has a free VPN service for hams. And it can solve a lot of these problems.
Yeah, I was wanting to use it, but the trouble with it, as I've told you before, is I don't think it addresses security issues, the vulnerabilities.
You keep saying that, and I keep telling you that security is one of the things I did have a lot of experience with when I was working.
Yeah. Well,
I know what the practical issues are. What things actually matter.
What actually matters if you hang out, tell me why I shouldn't be worried about having all the ports on my computer open at some 44 address.
Oh, you should, because you keep using you share accounts and use standard passwords in them all. That's why you should be concerned.
What about all those other ports and services that come up and are being advertised?
Well, you don't open those up. You open it.
So I have to go in and
only generally open and need to open port 22, right?
That's the only one that needs to be open. But I don't.
And then you make sure that your SSH is tied in. SSH with shared passwords and passwords.
Phil, I'm gonna assign that job to you for all 100 Worcester Demon sites. Okay, you could go through and assure and make sure that all of their IP tables are set up properly.
You don't seem to have a problem smashing many configuration scripts on my machines.
I think that Nathaniel can speak to this issue as a representative of his university. They're concerned about advertising one port.
Of course.
And so
people don't know how to securely configure SSH.
So how are you going to go and make sure not only is it up, but how are you going to check? You're going to check daily to be sure that somebody hasn't gone in and fat-fingered?
Let me talk, Rob. Configurations don't usually change themselves, okay? I keep telling people, let me finish. I keep telling people that the single most important thing you can do to secure any Unix machine is not blocking all ports, not all of this stuff you keep talking about, but turning off plain text password authentication. Okay. Yeah. That's the single most important thing you can do. Okay. And of course, I'm assuming here that you've only opened up SSH to the outside, because that's generally all you need. But if you open up SSH to the outside, you make sure that all plain text password authentication is turned off. At that point, your machine is basically not a problem. It's secure.
If if the University of Scranton, the HamSCI organization is willing to accept the liability associated with ensuring that port 22 is the
I'm telling
only
you what I
port
know
open.
from experience, from actual experience, Rob.
Yeah,
Not
but
what
I
some
know,
not what hand
my
waving managers are worried about. That isn't a problem. I'm telling you what actually matters.
you know,
Own experience.
I don't think, I mean, I hear a very different story.
Take that for what it's worth. Okay.
Okay. Well, I hear a very different story from Brett,
Well,
and who
I don't know what
administers
I don't know what else I can tell you.
yeah,
It
thousands
makes it really difficult sometimes to work with all these machines. But anyway,
yeah. Well, in any case,
had this
yeah,
argument before.
I think what you say is that I completely agree. If port 22 were the only port open, and you had you know,
Yeah, but
pre-shared key
then you
authentication,
go on having Whisper Demon accounts everywhere with the password Whisper Demon. Come on, I mean, it's like
they're all
security
double.
101, right?
No, tell me if you can hack any one of those that I don't allow you, give you
What do you
access to.
mean? I mean, you've told me to log in. I don't want to waste my time doing that, but you've told me to log into many machines with the username Whisper Demon, password Whisper
Sure. Yeah.
many
But
times.
but
Why are you
have,
doing?
why? Because
Why do you do that?
because otherwise I go into all these different machines. They all have different usernames and logins. I can't remember it. It's hard enough to
You
log
don't
into
have
machines.
to. Well, first of all, if you're going to have it run, which is a bad idea, but let's say you are, you put in a public key for each one of them, and you use the same public key in all of them. You don't have for anything.
How do you administer all that and get that all installed? I think
copy.
I
a
think
file called .ssh/authorized key, right?
Well,
you send your
anyway,
own keys to that in every system you're going to manage, and then boom, you're in every one of them. You don't need to use a password. It's actually easier.
Yes, I think that you really should help me, and I really like to have you volunteer.
Rob. I keep trying to.
No. I'm talking about logging in and configuring and maintaining remote access to 100 different sites.
4i in, come on, show programming. 4i in list of computers, do SSH, whatever. Okay, I mean, I do that all the time.
That's anyway. We clearly have a really different perspective on
mine's
security.
based on practice in the real world. What is yours based on?
Mine is based upon the responses of what Brett tells me, and he's daily battling Romanian server attacks and so on. And
everybody gets attacked. I see it all the time. I don't worry about it. Why? Because I don't turn on passwords.
Yeah.
I see it all the time. I don't care.
Okay. Well, anyway, we have a very different
my
perspective
log,
here.
which is annoying, but they never get in, so I don't care.
In any case, we didn't get back to what was really the substance here, which is I've lost access to your sites, and I guess I don't.
Yeah.
None of them are.
And you wouldn't need all this bizarre network of tunnels that you set up in the name of security.
I'd love to have your help
on all this. Trying to get across is that making something secure doesn't mean making it hard to use. You seem to think that that's right.
It's not hard. It's not hard. It's not hard to use for me. You can see that's all it takes for me to log into Elmer's AG0. That's all it takes to do everything I need there. But he's apparently, Elmer, are you off? Are you still with us? I think we've lost him. I think we've lost his internet connection.
You got to maintain all these WireGuard tunnels, and then you got to maintain at least, it's just whatever. It's much extra work.
Yeah, okay. Well, as I say, this is, I think we have a very different perspective on all this. So, I know everything about. I set up auto logins and so on all the time. And these are all issues.
Why are you still using Whisper Demon as a password in so many sites with login?
It doesn't make it because it doesn't make any difference. There's nobody can access it. Nobody can access.
This is what we call the hard shell with the soft, chewy interior model of security.
Yes, that's right.
Which is wrong. Yeah. Okay, it's one of the things we're always, we're saying from experience is not a good idea. Because once you penetrate a hard exterior, everything's open for the taking.
well, if I it's hard enough for me to maintain the hard shell.
Or maybe you wouldn't have to.
I believe I do. I believe I do.
Well,
So anyway, so well, we can't go forward with his. I debugging his if Elmer's not on the internet anymore. So I think you briefly saw how AGE0 could not see any of the SSIDs off of any of the three computers.
yeah. See,
yeah,
this my problem with your SSH tunnels is it also makes me difficult to access KNIQ web pages that might be running on the machine. This is
very
my
very
problem
easy.
with a lot of this.
They all have now. They're all available, and they
They
all
are.
have yes.
I get it separate.
Every site has two unique numbers that differ by 10,000. Add
Oh,
10,000 to
I
one,
hadn't
and you get
heard about this. I hadn't heard about this kludge yet, but all right. One
you
more
can
kludge to remember.
get access. You get access to both of them.
Okay.
Right?
Well, I hadn't heard about that kludge yet.
It's yeah, that's well, you haven't wanted to use this mechanism, so you
Well, I use it when I have to.
well, and
All right, now how am I going to listen? How do I guess I could SSH and spawn a tunnel because that's what I typically
yeah,
do if I'm debugging.
I never
But
do
that
that.
means the SSH has got to bounce around through several different servers and before it finally gets to where it's supposed to go.
No more difficult.
Although it's true that if you're going to use network 44, it's got to go through one of the network 44.
It's going to go through your network 44 servers.
We actually have a whole bunch of them, and you use the closest one around the world.
Yeah, how hard is it for me to get? I was
just
daunted.
WireGuard. It's just WireGuard.
No. I know how easy it is to set up a WireGuard. How easy is it to get a set of config files? Is that what I get if
we have a paid staff who handles this stuff now.
Well, I've registered with your 44
All
net
right,
group.
just asking questions, they'll help you.
Okay,
Right.
I guess I found it a little.
Let me finish.
I'm sorry.
What Net44 or 44net does, it's a set of WireGuard, distributed set of WireGuard tunnels at points of presence around. I mean, they're adding, I don't know how many they have now, but they're adding them around the world. And they'll give you a network 44 address or block of addresses if you wish, along with a WireGuard key. And so when it's all set up, what you get is your own personal network 44 address, which is routable to the world,
Yeah.
and that people can use to reach you. So all I would need to do to reach any of these sites is to go to 44 dot whatever, which could be in a DNS name, colon, 8081 for KNIQ Web or port 22 for SSH. It's just like talking to any other machine on the internet. No SSH tunnels. You don't have to set up your own WireGuard tunnels. It just works like any ordinary internet host. And port 22, if it goes to SSH, you turn off password authentication. I don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, okay.
I don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, I would.
No, I don't know. I don't know how secure KNIQ Web is. That's a different consideration.
I don't know either. That's another reason to. But anyway, as
you guys might want to put some credentials in that, a login page or something, just in case there's vulnerability.
I'm not. I think Wayne, you and Wayne are welcome to work on that stuff and get it.
It's not he already has his hands full with.
That's what I figured. So that's why I keep all of the K9UQ web pages are all behind my firewall.
Everybody's heard us argue long enough. Who else wants to say something?
Yes, they have.
Rob and I do this all the time, by the way.
Yeah, we're kind of. I found that
I'm just usually doing it in chat rather than by voice.
Anyway, if Elmer came back, we could do it. But I think I need you to actually look at these servers.
Says you can't access Elmer's machines either.
I can't access any of his
board and left. Let's see. I don't know what Scott was asking.
Yeah. I don't know. We have. I've been doing things to optimize the FFTs. I think I have. I was going to suggest, Phil. My experience in optimizing these B links is that 80% of the time is spent calculating the 129 megasample profile.
Sure, of course. Yeah, that.
Yeah, and so trying to dynamically calculate the smaller ones that are used by Spectrum, it seems like a relatively relatively unimportant.
Well, unless you have a lot of users, we don't have a cap on the number of users.
No, what I did in Whisper Daemon recent install about a week ago is I have Whisper Daemon. Each time you start it, it actually runs through all of the profiles that
Right.
Are used by all of the zoom levels, the spectrum
Right.
levels. So everything is checked every time you start work with Streaming, because
Okay.
when you pointed that out to me, I realized, geez, you can run the FFT
Run 'em all,
Wisdom,
yeah.
and bam, it's done in
Yeah.
10 milliseconds if they're already done.
I mean, you
So
guys talk about this enough that I'm getting motivated to try to automate it further.
I don't
And,
think you don't need to do that for Whisper Daemon. Okay, don't do it
well,
for
I'm
us.
also for the web server, as you zoom in and out, there's a whole bunch of
I do all of this. Whisper Daemon calculates all of them. So all of
Okay.
them are any Whisper Daemon site you
But
go
the
to.
point is, you shouldn't have to do this. It should be dynamic, and I think I think of some mechanisms for doing it that will. I mean, first of all, I have to make sure things are locked so that you don't have collisions. I mean, there's only one process writing the
Yeah.
wisdom file at one time, and make sure that, because what I'm really careful, want to make sure is that you don't end up truncating the file and having to start it all over, computation all over again, because that could be hours.
Yeah. For Whisper Daemon sites, you need not do
But
that.
you can always merge two wisdom files. You know that, right? When you run
No.
FFT wisdom,
No.
one of the options is, well, first of all, there's an option to read the global wisdom file, which is on by default, and then you can give it any number of options to read other wisdom files, and it'll merge them together. Even if it doesn't generate anything else, you can have it generate a merged version of those files.
I haven't found that to be the need to do that merging or so on. That the process is so much dominated by doing the one largest. It's 90% of the
Well,
time.
there are others that are, I mean, I've been experimenting. I should have said this. I've been experimenting with a family of sampling rates.
Yeah.
Most of you guys are using 129.6, which I think is a number I came up with a while back, along with Glenn Elmore's advice on how to use friendly divisors in the clock generator chip.
Yeah. Yeah.
But 129.6, if people know the 120, know the SI 5351, you first take the reference and you multiply it up in a synthesizer to some VCO level, some VCO frequency, and then you divide that VCO down to the output. So it's a multiplication followed by a division. And the VCO has to be in a certain order, a certain range. I think it's like 600, 900 megahertz, something like that. So as long as they fit, and as long as you use divisors in the proper range, you can get an output. However, if you can make the multiplier and the divisor in integers, you get cleaner outputs, fewer spurs, because you're not using the fractional n capability of the synthesizer. So the 129.6, starting from a 27 megahertz reference, has a fractional multiplier to the PLL, but an integer divisor of 6 to go to the output. I found that if I go to 126 megahertz even, then I can use an integer for both the multiplier and the divisor. And I've been experimenting with that one. You don't lose a whole lot of bandwidth. It makes things a little bit harder for the anti-alias filter, but it certainly still captures everything we want. And I've been running with that one for a while. It occurs to me that it's also a good idea to do a family of these things in case somebody has trouble by a spur that happens to land on a really important frequency. We can give them an alternative sample rate to try that's been vetted. That's a good number. So it's probably a good idea to give them a family. We can give them one that we recommend, but if you have a problem with the spur, you could move it. So now we have two. Not only does the numbers have to be easy for the synthesizer, but also the block sizes, the FFT block sizes, have to be composed of all small prime factors, or that FFT will be rather inefficient. So that those are all the hoops you have to, or the sieves that you have to fall through in order to pick a sample rate. And we have two. I'm willing to do some more work to do more, but it also means more FFTs that you may have to pre-compute to make it easier for people to change these sample rates. So this is why I'm thinking of some mechanism that would automate this more will be a good thing. And I've been thinking about it. I mean, what I would really like, what I would love is for FFTW to have the ability to improve its wisdom as it executes. And I don't know that it has any way of doing that, except we could approximate it. You could start by estimation because they have these different levels of thoroughness for generating wisdom. The first one was estimate, which is basically nothing at all. It just goes really fast. And then there's measure, and then there's patient, and then there's, I don't know, something else, they one or two levels more. And I thought about actually putting this in to have it execute at runtime, that if there is no wisdom, we start with whatever wisdom is available, but there isn't any, I can start a job up and run it at the same time on a different core. And then when it's done, automatically restart the FFT plan and just use it. In other words, it'll just automatically get better as it runs. You won't even have to restart EOD. And the wisdom will grow.
Yeah, the only problem I would see with that is that the one that you really need to do the planning for is the 129 megahertz.
I know that. I know that.
And that one, and you cannot
now
run
if that's
it.
Not if that's not fast enough to real time, you're stuck. I know. I've seen that. Yes.
And that's the case. Even on a B-Link, your top end B-Link cannot do 129.
There's no choice there, but you got to wait. But you may not have to wait as long as you think, because when you do a wisdom run, I think the default level is patient. You might just be able to go to measure, I think, and get something that may be almost as good, that runs a lot faster, and then do the really
when we run with wisdom, I just copied what you did, and you run it with a -T1, capital T1. Is that
that just says that the number of threads is 1.
Okay, the number of threads. So what is the default? I don't see
the default
in the
level
commandment.
the default level is patient. And there are other flags which I have not used, which will select the different levels of aggressiveness.
Okay.
All right.
Well, it takes.
And you can specify this. I mean, these are all mapped to C APIs, in the C calls to do the planning. So all I have to do to create my own wisdom is just to execute a plan and a thread, right? And it will generate the wisdom, and then I do the call that writes it out to a file. And I have to do all the proper locking to make sure I don't collide and end up writing a 0-length file, stuff like that. Make sure that I merge in everybody else's stuff if we're both running at the same time. I want to make sure that what gets written is the merger of the two.
Well,
I can do all this stuff.
Yeah, there's two questions here. To what extent does I mean, if you run a planning job, to what extent is it affected by other?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I do not know.
So that kind of concerns me about trying to run it.
I understand that. But look, and we all both know this, but I don't know about you. But in practice, I run it at the same time as I'm running Radio D. I mean, I know I shouldn't, but hey, look, if I'm going to do that anyway, I figure I might as well create the capability to do that.
That's not the way.
What would be even better? Would be even better is the ability to incrementally improve the FFT that is currently running, the actual FFT that's running. I wish there was a way to do that.
You can change you can move up any task to any core and assign it.
No. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about improving the plan as it runs. Now, I don't know if there's any way to do that now, but if I dig into
I see.
There might be a way to incrementally improve the plan.
I'm sorry.
Start with one that runs slow, and as it runs faster, that would be ideal, because now it's not competing with anything, right? You've already given it the whole machine. It's not competing with anything else, and that would probably give you the best results. If there's some way to do incremental levels, maybe they have more levels than the ones I just mentioned that are documented, measured and patient and exhaustive. If there are some in between, that would be ideal. I could just restart the plan each time, right? You take a little time each time, and then as time goes on, it gets faster, which is the ideal. That was the ideal situation.
Okay. Well, I think you should, if you look at it though, on a B-Link with
Yeah, well, you guys have been
when
talking
you,
about this wisdom generation so much that when you guys talk about something over and over, eventually I get frustrated and say, look, I mean,
you don't
okay,
have to do
I'm gonna
it.
go, I'm gonna go fix this so these guys will stop talking about it.
Well,
I do
you've
this, I do
solved
this all
it,
the
but
time. I do this all the time.
no, for what you heard from, not from me. I mean, once you told me that I could run, run Wisdom,
Yeah.
and it would run through all the profiles quickly. Once I
Yeah.
learned that, now I fixed it
Yeah.
it's fixed.
Somebody is
It's
still talking enough about these planning messages. I just want that to stop.
okay.
And the
Okay,
easiest way to
well,
stop is I mean, I did this all the time in my career. We'd have these engineering meetings where people are arguing. I figured that you get so
okay.
tired, you just go off and I just do it
Yeah.
my way and then come
Okay.
back and it's a fait accompli and it shuts them up.
Well, in any
It's
case,
amazing how many times that works.
okay. Well, in any case, you do not need to do it for Whisper Demon sites. Okay,
Okay.
it's solved. Okay, I
Okay.
think it's solved. There isn't one other question with you that I have for you though. There are a few sites, Uli, ON5KQ, and the Ascension Island right now that are running with old i5s.
Yeah.
And in that case, okay, they cannot run at 129, even when they're fully planned. They run out of CPU. Now that's because I'm wondering if we did a plan that had two threads, would the FFT library divide the task between two cores? And so
Oh,
those
two plans, of course.
otherwise,
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, sure it would. It
okay,
has to,
so
right? It can't run two at the same time on the same core and they're CPU heavy.
well,
Planning job hits 100%, right?
yeah, well, yeah, the planner, yeah, even with the planned version,
Has to
with
run on
one
another
thread.
core.
So, well, I may try on those. It would be interesting to see. It really is, I think there's a lot of value to running at 129 or whatever you choose, 126. That sample rate gives you a view into the spectrum above 30 megahertz. And
That's
even
right.
if you have a 30 megahertz low pass filter, you see FM AOSing,
Yeah.
FM broadcast band, and all these impairments that have crept into your receive system. So I think there's a good reason to do it everywhere, but there are a couple of sites where I can't run. You can't run it at 129 right now with a single thread.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll run a planning job.
You do have the option, by the way, of planning for multiple threads, and that might be something else.
Yeah, well, that was what I was going to do. Try to take
I mean, now you have to start all over again with the wisdom generation. You have to use capital T2. I'm not talking about two single-threaded X jobs that are working on independent FFTs. I'm talking about taking one FFT and multi-threading it. And FFEW can do that if you tell it to.
Yeah,
but you have
I
to
only
generate
need
all over again. You have to generate a wisdom for that particular
yeah.
combination.
Well, my
Right.
thought was that I could generate everything up through 64 meg samples. It's T1, and then run that reference that, but add the 129 profile, the 3.2 million, whatever it is,
Yeah.
with a T2, and so you would have profiles that were single threaded on the lower,
Yeah.
lower speeds, and
You have them as options. Yeah.
dual thread for the one
Yeah.
that you needed on.
Yeah. Now,
Anyway.
the reason I had not used the higher thread levels is because in general, and they warn you about this, in general, the total number of CPU cycles is greater, the total amount of power burn is greater.
Yeah.
However, we got machines now with zillions of cores, and it might be the only way to make some of these things run in real time. In general, the multi-job, multi-worker approach that I've been using is almost always the cheaper way in terms of CPU cycles. And they tell you this, but if you really need to get a single FFT done as quickly as possible, and farming out the multiple cores will cost you, but it will often be the fastest. And if we have cores to spend, as we now do, that might be worth at least trying.
Well, maybe I'll do a set of profiles with T2 for everything.
Sure.
and it you know, it
You can
won't
go up
co-
to, I'm not sure. I think there's a point of diminishing returns not long after 2, maybe 3 or 4, but
I
it's
wouldn't, and
fine. I
I
mean, you know,
well, T2 it could keep them on the same pair of hyper-threaded cores, so they'd be using the same level 1 and level 2
right,
caches.
right.
So I think when you go to T4, you're not talking about different caches. So
Yeah.
you have so there's going to be a
Well,
cost for
you
the
don't
cache.
know. I mean, you're
There
guessing.
may be, yeah,
You
there
know,
may or may not be, but 2 will certainly be enough, even on these
I mean,
old i5s.
remember in science, I mean, reality is king, right? I mean,
Yeah.
test everything, right? And reality has
Yes.
the final say. So
Yeah, yeah.
you
Well,
can
anyway,
speculate all you want, but
I'll give that a try. I didn't want to go off and take down a site
yeah.
for a couple hours to do an experiment that you could tell me would be a failure, but it sounds like
I,
it might be work.
I mean, I do make that. It's a hook. You can change it. And
Yeah, yeah.
I
But
think I expose it in the config file, but I don't advertise it.
I
No.
would I have to tell you, or would you just automatically use whatever profile is available for
No,
the?
no, no. I mean, you would have to configure it. I know it's at the very least a defined constant, but it may also be exposed in the config file. I can't remember whether I make that available along with FFT threads because it's
Well,
easy for the people to get them confused. 2 different types of threading,
well,
multi-threading.
so
Are you doing two
yeah.
FFTs at once, or are you doing one FFT in multiple threads? And they do tell you, they do discourage you from doing the latter because it's going to burn up more cycles and more power
Yeah, I
total.
know, but we don't have enough cycles to complete the
If you
the
don't,
one
and you
point.
have any
Yeah,
spare cores, then it might be worth
and
it.
we do have the spare cores.
But you've also said that power and cooling are problems in some of these
That's
systems.
well,
Others.
these are systems where that isn't an issue. These are
Okay. All right.
these are i5 old i5s. They have
Yeah.
4 cores,
Yeah.
and with I think individual caches. So
The old ones, I mean, the thing to do also is to go in and blow all the dust off the heat sinks. I found that made
yeah,
it. I have
well,
a i5 NUC, and I didn't realize how much of a difference it made when I just went there and
yeah.
blew out the
Well,
dust and started coughing.
Well, I just just completed a lot of work to optimize the heat and power in Debian, and that's why I had to go to Debian 13 because the earlier Debian 12 and the Ubuntu's did not include the Linux kernel that supported the operating system calls
Yeah.
needed to
There
control
are
the
some
processor
backported
speed.
kernels, but I'm the one who's always trying to get you to update. So I'm glad they
I did. Yeah. Well,
finally seen the light here.
I know Debian 13 works really well. Actually, if you
Yeah.
look in the GUI of Debian 13.